All right, I'm going to give you a new report that I made last night for you. Again, in the future, we're going to switch from this to something more tangible. That's the word. And I'm going to be doing more different type of report in this coming year. Let's go to the website. We're going to go scroll down to just this last night. And I made it free, so this is available for everyone online. You can just go right to our website, patreon.com/jsong_7. And that's our current website. We are going to be changing websites later in the year. But right now, this is our website. And again, I want to make things a little bit easier for you in the future. So that's why we're making a lot of changes. But this is the report I made last night. So come here after this and you can watch this. But for right now, I'm going to read this report side by side. Okay, so let's pull up this image. And we're going to go and we're going to talk about this. Okay, this is the image. And you guys can download it if you want to. All right, so let's talk about these two reports. Total 3 represents a big portion of altcoins, what altcoins are doing. And it represents a lot of what the market is doing minus Bitcoin and minus Ethereum. And so last night before I went to sleep, I pulled up this chart. That's cookies. I pulled up the cookies, but I also pulled up this chart in a blank chart, and I just reset my eyes. I said, let's look at RSI, and we're going to look in health and weakness regarding trends of RSI. And this can become a whole system for yourselves. I don't do it often like this. When we do a more advanced RSI class, we're going to be teaching about this, so you guys can glean things like this. But this is my total 3 report. Let's do this systematically, okay? And the first thing I notice is that we have price parabolic in a parabolic type move here. So we can draw the parabolic in yellow, and then we break into health approximately here in Q3 2020. So let's read our report side by side regarding this move, okay? Now, I wrote this and I said Q3 market report. This data also matches data presented in my Q4 2025 report. Below is a longer-term look at some of the larger danger appearing in the crypto markets, primarily on the weekly chart. In Q3 of 2024, number 1, in Q3 of 2020, RSI on total 3 moved into a territory of health, and price at the time was around 90 billion average. Now, what we mean by that part, for this part, is that of RSI, you can see RSI also had a similar trend using these tops here, here, and here, and then there was a health that appeared. We marked the time on where it appeared, and it's approximately here, and I gave it this little triangle with a little black dash. So this is a time marker when health is entering the market. Now, just before that health, RSI was moving inward and still oscillating in a consolidating range. This is RSI diverging in a positive way during that time. So next, before this happened, price is going flat, but RSI is diverging upward and inward. So this is going to be a positive type of divergence. See, one's going flat or downward, and this one's going upward. So this is what is called a divergence. So it's diverging inward. So that's a very positive thing. So of note, we're going to do this several times so you can see it. RSI moves into health and also diverges inward. However, at the same token now, shortly thereafter, in the same quarter, price itself moved into health and above its parabolic resistance. So price moved into health based on its own structure of parabolic. Now, these structures don't always match, but sometimes they do. All right, but this time both price moved into health and RSI moved into health, and it was a match. So price moved into health plus the price level match. This was bullish in Q1 of 2020. This was around $90 billion. So price at the time for total 3 market was around 90 billion. All right. This was about the same level in price as RSI health of 90 billion. This was a bullish indication that the market should have a much easier time rising. And what did the markets do? They had a nice, easier time rising. Price was at 70 billion and moved upwards towards a bullish action, upward in a bullish action towards 1.1 trillion in Q1 2021. So closer to 1.1 trillion, somewhere up there is where it moved up to. And that's great. Now, just before that, all right, so that's then. Number 2. So again, RSI health and plus the divergence. And then we had price health plus matching price level where both healths came in. That was bullish. Next, as we go up, number 2, in Q1 of 2022, RSI on total 3 moved into negative territory. Okay, so this is where RSI starts moving negative. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean that if we're tracking the trending trajectory of RSI, we got 4 points. We got here, here, and here. You can see they're all lined up, right? Or very close to line up. Now, sometimes they'll line up in a parabolic, but in this case, they're lining up with a straight. So approximately at this time, you guys still with me? At that time, in Q1 of 2022, that's when RSI moves into a negative territory. This price was around 950 trillion market cap. So that was about where it happened, and price was about that market cap trillion, okay, 950, somewhere around there, okay. Now, just before that happened, RSI was diverging inward, and price was rising upward. All right, so price was going higher. You can see price going higher. I drew this little arrow for you, but at the same time, RSI is going downward. You guys still with me? Downward. Now, this is RSI diverging in a negative way. In Q3 of 2022, so of that same year, but 2 quarters later, somewhere right here, price also moved into this weakness, okay? Price entered weakness territory as well. By this time, price was already low, around $380 trillion. So we track the foundational upward area, and it's going to give us a weakness more about right here. Now, this was a negative area for cryptocurrencies, and price stayed negative until Q3 of 2023. So almost a whole year, price stays negative. We just failed to go up, okay, for a long time until the next foundational areas are broken and we have health, which is on top of that red line. So if we had a marker, we just slide down the price and the marker, and we can calculate when the health comes in. There it is. There's the health. Understand? All right, great. Now, this was not a price match, but negative nonetheless. So although it's not great for shorting, it was still negative. And why not great for shorting? Because the weakness in RSI was not really matching that price. So therefore, of these two areas, I put RSI weakness divergence, but I also put price weakness in here, but I did not put price match. So they don't match. So those prices do not match, but it's still negative nonetheless. So that was number 2. Number 3, let's go on to number 3, because there's 4 of them. Let's go on to number 3. So there's a reason I'm showing you all of this, so you can make sense of this, okay? In Q1 of 2023, RSI moved into territory of health. Price was near $380. So in Q3, right around this time, price moved into health. Now, how do we know we're in health? We're checking the foundational areas. It's here, and we draw that line, and price crosses over those times right about right here. All right, so that's good. RSI moves into health. Price at the time was near 380 trillion, so that's about where it is. Low. Health. This was health trying to come into the market. So when RSI was moving into the health, was trying to come into the market. Just before that health, RSI was diverging inward, and price was moving downward. So price is moving down, and RSI is moving up at that same time. So just before it moves into health, this is what's happening. We're getting a divergence between price and RSI. So RSI is indicating, hey, with a more likelihood, we generally should be moving upward. This is health, again, trying to enter into the market. So this is RSI moving in a positive type of divergence. That's a bullish type of divergence. Now, alone divergence isn't nothing, but when taken in whole or holistically, And by holistically, I mean that what you do is you pray, oh Lord, please make me holy before looking at this. And that's what holistic means. Or at least I think that's what it means, Kim. Anyway, I'm just kidding, guys. In quarter 3, price entered into the healthy area. Price was around 310 billion. So now RSI moves into health and price moves into health where? Much later. So this is a weekly chart, by the way, guys. Each one of these is 1 week worth of time. So there's a good amount of time in between here, many months, but you can see that this is about where health comes in. The thing that I'm noting is that price moving into health and RSI moving into health are about the same level. So they are what I call a match. Price health moves into health plus price level matches the RSI health. So RSI has health and they're diverging just before it is. So we have 2 instances where price matches and moves into the divergence beforehand and we have a strong move up. Then we have another health and price matches and price moves up. Are you guys still with me so far? Isn't that kind of nice? All right, so this was around 310 billion. This level is very close to the RSI health and is a close match. This is a bullish territory. This was a bullish territory for now, both price and RSI. They were both in the bullish area. And price moved upwards towards the peak of around 114 trillion in quarter 3 of 2025. So we can see we had a strong move up right in those areas. All right, you guys ready for number 4? Here we go. In quarter number 4, this is my reports that I give you guys. RSI or RS, what is this? I should say RSI. RSI moved into a negative territory when it closed below its yellow parabolic around 46 on RSI. So don't ask me what the 46 means, but it's basically this, okay? So we have RSI doing this formation. So here's our foundational area. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're all lined up in a row on this parabolic. Don't you think we should pay attention to them? I think we should. And here we hit it another time. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Anyone can draw these. You guys can draw them. And so therefore, what the heck is this going on right now? It is about this time in quarter number 4 of 2025. This was around November, October, November, December. In those months, this is when this happens. It's right about here. Now pay attention, guys, because this is where we're at now. Okay, this is really important. All right. Quarter 4, RSI moved into a negative territory when it closed below its yellow parabolic. And that's the one I just drew for you guys. This was weakness entering the market. Just before that, RSI was diverging inwards since 2024 to 2025 when price continued to move upward in 2024 to 2025. This is weakness entering the market and can slow markets down. All right, so just before that RSI, price is going higher in these areas. You guys can see prices moving higher. Here's our 2 swings, but RSI is moving lower in these 2 swings. So this is divergence. And this is what we know as a negative divergence or a bearish type divergence, because price is basically saying, hey, on average, the momentum is slowing down. We're going uphill, but someone took their foot off the gas in the crypto market. The markets are not ramping up in momentum. They're ramping down in momentum. You can even see that the up moves that we're making are getting smaller as we go in, and the down moves are still very much active as now prices in the weakness territory, and the higher highs are getting less. So we can see that we made this large high, and then we slowed down, and then we slowed down, and now we're in weakness. And this is why price starts doing this mushroom effect, especially when you factor in volume spread analysis. It really explains a lot of the mystery of that, but that one we already covered in other videos. Okay, now we can do another report about that on another time, but let's continue again with this one for this section. Now, since that happened, this was weakness entering the market. In the same quarter of 2025, Q4, in that same quarter, price itself had has entered into a weakness territory. So this is going to be made up of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 areas, and now we are in this weakness. So this weakness triggers also in Q4. Now, this is the weakness structure in its foundational structure. Now, what I mean by foundational structure, for those who are new to our community, you're going to be looking primarily how the move started. Now, this has, you could say, we started flat. Yes, that's true. It's flat. You guys can draw that. It's going to be somewhere much, much lower. But if we're just talking about the up move in its simplicity, this is going to be the foundational area from here to here. Now, here we go. There is a parabolic that can be drawn. So this is weakness structure in the market and its foundation structure. There is a parabolic that can be drawn, which I have on other charts. We've done it before. This too tells the same story of weakness. These two areas match. And what I mean by that is there's actually a curved shape or hints of a curved shape that we can draw, and it's slightly curved, and we've already drawn that on other charts. On our other total 3 charts, just again type in total and total 3 and then change the date to recent, and you're going to see my other total 3 charts, and it's going to be here. And I'll quickly flash them up on the screen because I did a report on this not so long ago. I want to say within the last 2 weeks. This is the parabolic, okay? It's this one. Okay, so if you guys are drawing this, it's going to also tell the same story of weakness. Look at price responding exactly. This is this week. This is this week, right? January 5th week, 90 billion. Where are we at? We're exactly on the underside of here. This is why I don't really trust this smaller local breakout, guys. I really don't trust this smaller local breakout. Oh yeah, Jason, now it's the time for the markets to go up. I'm looking a little bit longer than most of you guys are looking. I'm looking all the way back since 2023. And right now, since 2023, I see this structure being broken. That's what I see. All right, guys, and this is my report from December 22nd. So it's a big report I gave you guys, and that's why I said you guys can look at other videos. Go to that date, scroll down to that date, type in total 3, and you guys should see most of what we're talking about here. But for now, in its simplicity, if all you did is say, Jason, I don't know how to draw all of that. Well, that's fine. Draw a straight line, and there you go, okay? Just a straight line, and that's most of what you're going to need, okay? Most of what you're going to need. I said this weakness is entering the market. Price itself has entered the weakness territory. This is weakness entering the market in its foundational structure. And this is a parabolic that can be drawn, which I have on other charts, but this too tells the same story of weakness. So no matter how you slice it or dice it, it's still weakness. These two areas match. Now this is today, January 26th. This data indicates a negative outlook for the future total 3 crypto market cap, and therefore indicates a negative possible altcoin market. This data again confirms what I'm seeing in USDT.D with a very possible, very strong weakness appearing when USDT.D closes above 6.628. When that chart moves up, most cryptos come down. That's why that chart gives you almost everything you need to know about the markets. Okay. Though this outlook may be negative, it may present some powerful upcoming shorting opportunities. Please stay safe in the markets. These images are meant to be viewed alongside with today's video, which will be uploaded within 24 hours. This is never financial investment or trading advice of any kind. Everything in this video or image is always for comedic and educational and entertainment purposes. Only trading in the markets carries substantial risk. Never trade more than you can afford to lose, and especially be aware against a high leverage trading. Okay, always be aware against high leverage trading. What are we left with? We are left with an image that tells us a history of weakness and health matching RSI divergence before creating strong moves one way or the other. This is the only one that did not have a strong divergence with price match. Price match plus divergence. Price no match, but divergence. And even that kept things down for a long time. This one, price match plus divergence. Okay. Here now we have again weakness and on RSI, weakness on price with divergence. So what am I looking at? In other words, I ain't looking too bullish. All right, that's going to be my opinion. I'm not looking too bullish, guys. This is not a good thing for this market at the moment. I would be very careful trading right now, guys. Okay, longer term stuff. We're talking the local healths are good for smaller stuff, but remember, you can get whipsawed if you're. Let me put it this way. When there's a tsunami, the lifeguards come and they start telling everybody, get out of the water. Get out of the water. Get out of the water. But what happens if you've never seen it, and I've seen it because we were there. I was there. Now, there was no tsunami, but the lifeguards came pulling everybody out of the water. They were yelling at everybody. We were in Peru, and they were saying, get out of the water. But it was the strangest thing, because before the expected tsunami, the water pulls back. And what happened is all the beach where people are swimming dried up. And you know what people did? Anybody know? They went deeper. They were chasing the water. And then the water went deeper and receded. Now the lifeguards, they're looking for the big tsunami. And they know that before that big swell comes, it pulls back. So it lures them even deeper. So now everybody's, hey, what are the fish flopping on the floor? Fish are flopping on the floor. Starfish are exposed. What's going on here? And you know what happened? People are going deeper into the water. The lifeguards are panicking. Oh my gosh, don't chase it. Don't chase the water. You should think, why is the water doing this? Most people are not thinking longer term about why the market moves in these major things. These are the major stuff. You can ignore them. I think that's you getting lured in. At the very least, have some semblance of a risk assessment so that you guys can stay safe with what the Lord might show you. The Lord may show you some things. If you need help, come to our website. You can sign up for our Dive membership tier. You get a free trial for 7 days, and you also, you can also get a free lesson the first Saturday of every month. But you can get invited to every single one of our links. Just like right now, we have a bunch of people on our live Zoom session. These are when we meet, and you get copies of the recordings. Okay, Sundays are WordRoom online message, but these are a cryptocurrency and stock market and forex type meetings right now. Don't be chasing the water when things start going away. Listen to what the lifeguards are saying. Listen to what your data might be showing you, because at the very least, if things are dangerous, find where things are safe again. Draw where there's safety. There's a greed and a fear that moves people into negative directions even after the wealth transfer. Just look at the first Israelites. They got the gold. They were told to knock on the door. They had instructions. They got the gold. But then Moses went on the mountain for further instructions, and then they didn't want to listen anymore to Moses. When it came time to give up the things that they needed to give up, they needed to choose who was on their side or Moses' side. And they said, no, our God is gold now. They got to a point where they didn't want to listen to sound wisdom or discretion. And that doesn't, again, I'm not saying I'm right. There's things you're going to see in your own data systems. And then there's going to be things that appeal to you. There's going to be the golden calf. Everybody has an internal golden calf type of things that appeal to them. That's going to be within their greeds and within their fears category, which move the markets, by the way, greed and fear. Your job is to recognize those systems or programs within you that cause you to take foolish trades, that cause you to take risky trades, that cause you to get into trades that you really shouldn't be in, that cause you to not sit on your hands when you know you should be sitting on your hands, that cause you to double down on trades that are already in negative positions. Those are the systems of greed and fear that are still operating in you that still may be powerful. You have to break that out of you. You have to become disciplined if you're going to succeed. You have to have a different mindset. How is God supposed to put millions in your hands and you're supposed to keep millions or billions in your hands? How are you supposed to keep it if you're still going into the market with the same thing? You may be like, next trade is going to be $1 billion, and then it starts going in the wrong direction and you're going to throw more billions at it. And before you know it, you're going to be living in a trailer park. Back to where you started. There's nothing wrong with living in a trailer park. If that's where you're at, that's where you're at. But if you're a billionaire, why are you living in a trailer park? You should be growing your wealth, or at the very least preserving your wealth. You understand? If you have seed, we should be preserving our seed or growing our seed. I want you guys to, the reason I do this and teach you this art is so that you have some semblance of the movements that are moving in and out in price, are moving in and out of its proper territories when dangers are coming in. This is just one type of analysis. There's so many you can apply to this. Volume. We did total the other day. I did it on Saturday. Lot of weakness, longer term. We're not talking about the stuff that's this week. Geez, the markets went up this week. Yes, there's small local health on a lot of these things. But you need to understand the larger game has not changed. Here's total. Okay, this is the total market cap. Look, I'm not making this stuff up, guys. You guys can draw these things for yourself. At the very least, this is a very dangerous spot to be in. Either straight from the foundational area since 2019. What the heck is the market doing underneath this area right now? On strong volume as we cross over into weakness, and then nobody wants it, and then we come up on ultra high volume and rejecting exactly where we need to be. Come on now, the warning bell should be running off. Tsunami, even if the tsunami never comes. And you know what? The tsunami never came. But me and Melody, we ran up to the top, all the way up to the top of the pier. The lifeguard screaming his head off, and little kids are chasing after it, and parents are ignoring him. And as soon as he shoos them away, he runs. You know what they do? They still run. After he goes away, they're like, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Maybe he's wrong. Maybe he's right. The two lifeguards that were there, we didn't take a chance. We just went up to higher territory. We went really high, and we pulled out our phones just in case we needed to film a tsunami. Okay, you can say what you want about me filming a tsunami. You shouldn't be filming a tsunami. I'm filming a tsunami if I saw one. We're up there looking down. We waited. No tsunami. Things came back to normal. But at least we were safe. We learned obedience. We learned to be safe. Trust the lifeguards. At the very least, when the lifeguards start shouting danger, and you know who the lifeguards are? It's not Jay-Song. I won't always be here in this capacity. The lifeguards is your own eyes, your own data. There are many times we've done things, we've gotten into relationships we shouldn't have got into because we were ignoring our eyes. We are ignoring the voice in our head. We are ignoring what was right before us. What was right before us? Signs. Red flags galore. Red flags galore. But we were like, we're enamored. We're trading emotionally. We're entering relationships emotionally. We're getting into jobs emotionally. We're getting into business deals emotionally. We're throwing money emotionally because we're emotionally hyped up. I'm not here to hype you up. I'm here to remind you to think practically. When you see things, be alert. Be aware. Something is not good. Ultra high volume near the top of the market into weakness. Come on. Something is wrong here. Something is wrong, in my opinion. Deeply wrong. And I don't want you guys to get whipsawed. It's probably more appropriate markets do this. It's probably more appropriate. If we continue going up, we're probably going to go up around 4.42. But this is a very large territory to be talking without asking serious questions. If you don't agree with all of my assessments, that's fine. That's great. But it's definitely worth looking at, talking about. Read some of these things. Here's USDT.D. It told the same story. A lot of what the heck are we doing here in these upper territories on higher volume? Look at the volume that's near these highs. This paints a case that we should be going. But Jason, the markets are going down, just like the tsunami. The water is going back and forth. Yes, there's a local health here. And where did we go? Exactly to our flat. We talked about this flat quite a bit. Now we've been talking about this one. But price failed to fall when it was supposed to fall initially. This was on January 2nd. You guys have all these curves. You guys can draw them. I don't make them up. You guys can see that. When this goes down, cryptos come up. Yes. Did it change anything in the story? No, it did not. We're still here. This means short-term bullish trades. Oh, yeah, the markets are rising. I better throw big. And you start throwing big money in at these instead of more appropriate, smaller trades. Because you need to keep your eyes on the horizon. What's the storytelling? At least until we're past the danger zone. Let somebody else take the risk. Here's a target for bullish trades. If you guys are interested bullish, I have one for you. It's there. It's around this area. 5.7, 5.8 if you're going to take bullish trades. But don't keep your eyes off the horizon. It's the same thing I've been preaching since October. These are the warnings I see. We shouldn't be doing these things. There was a smaller version of this like this. Okay? That's when we did that. And we bounced and we shot up. Now I'm looking at the larger big bounce. Do you understand? We're doing this. This is what we're doing. We're doing a smaller version of that shot us up. We're doing that. I'm thinking this is going to go high. We're going to hit the 9s. And that's going to be a very big crypto crash. You can say, I don't believe it. At least use 6.628. 6.628. Once we start getting above 6.628, that's when I'm going to be using this as a confirmation that this is the time. We're going to hit 7s first. We're going to have a pullback somewhere around the 7s. And then we're going to be on our way to the actual targets, which is around the 8s. But some people prophetically have seen this closer to the 9s. And I have 9s that are somewhere there. And there are all these numbers are there on my charts. Okay, we've had them for months. So please be aware, these are some of the things. We saw Bitcoin. It was the same story. Large weaknesses, territory. Here's the weekly charts. What is Bitcoin doing trading underneath these ranges? Jason, are you buying Bitcoin yet? There's a health into this. Look, this is what I'm watching. Here's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the larger story. My eyes are farther than the average bear right now. December 2022, August 2023, foundational area. What the heck are we doing underneath here? The first thing we have to calculate before weakness, the last event line. This is the event line. What do we do with the event line? We put it underneath the flat or underneath the swing low, which is the lowest energy center. And what am I seeing? I'm seeing price responding. Where am I still doing today? I'm still responding. So this is still very much in play. And therefore, this is much in play. And that's the 70s for Bitcoin. Price spiked and hit our target. Yeah, sure. But there's still a lot of room to play down. And if that breaks, we're going to go to the 50s and possibly the 30s. 36,000 is where my swing target is. And why do we have that? Because a much larger story, all the way back from 2012 for Bitcoin. You understand? I'm looking farther than the average bear, and you guys should be looking farther than the average bear. And when you start looking at these things holistically, you can start seeing, whoa, if I'm going to be buying Bitcoin longer term, am I in these territories? Now, I'm not saying we're going down there today, but systematically you can view, hey, this is a dangerous territory. This is where things get dangerous again, even more so, underneath here, underneath the 60s, 69 to 76. And then they get dangerous again below the 50s, 47s. And then we get very dangerous if we were below 36. I think in a flash crash, you'd probably see it here. Right now, I'm not in the territory where we're bullish yet. I got to wait for things to come back into a better period of health. Right now, all I know is these are the major weaknesses. And we're there. So I tread carefully when there's these kinds of things floating around in the water. Okay, when things are like this, when we have ultra high volume, but now the ultra high volume is as we cross into that weakness, that's a pushing bar. That's what that volume is. It's telling us on purpose we're trying to be down here. It's not good. It's not good. Again, I gave many of these type of reports on Saturday. So Bitcoin, total 3, total, USDT.D. It's telling me a story that there's some danger in the water. Father, I pray that you help the people, help us all to use our knowledge to see what's before us. We ask you sometimes for signs. We ask you sometimes for warnings. We know that there's prophetic things such as wealth transfer events. But we also know there are times of testing of greed and fear. You allowed Moses to be on that mountain for 40 days and 40 nights. You wanted to see what the people would do. A lot of them just failed. And we still fail to this day. We don't follow rules. We break rules. We don't have methodical systems. We're all over the place sometimes, Lord. As a people, as traders, as people who invest. Sometimes the instruction is simple: buy and hold and endure the storm. And other times it's more methodical. Sometimes it's more about timings. At other times we're doing actions while we get impatient. When Moses went up to the mountaintop to get the 10 commandments, the people got impatient. The scripture says that they said, we don't know what happened to this fellow. And they grabbed Aaron and they said, make us our own God. And so we sometimes as a people do the same. When you are silent or when your promises are long in keeping, we sometimes play. As you said in the scripture, it'll be good for that servant whose master is away a long time. Finds that servant doing good, he'll be rewarded. But if he finds him doing evil and beating his fellow servants, he will be himself beat with many blows. And you said, if you fail to do the good, then you will be beat with few blows. Lord, in your discipline for us, we also understand there's a test before the discipline is given. Lord, let us be proven to be faithful. And whether we're going to buy or sell, as the Proverbs 31 woman is described, it says that she sees her trading is prosperous. So whether we buy or sell, let us have a good reason to do what we do. If people don't agree with my particular assessment, I pray that you would reveal to them their own assessments on what they should be doing, especially if I'm completely wrong in my analysis. Lord, I pray that you would reveal to them the truths about their own timings. I pray that they would have reasons and peace. So if this is the time that they're supposed to buy and this is the time that they're supposed to strike, because I don't know what will happen in the markets. I only know my own data and probabilities and territories that I have seen, but I don't know the future. So if this is the moment for them, may they have a strong check in their spirit to take action. However, if it is their flesh, if it is their greed, if it is their fears, if it is their being influenced by external factors, I pray that you would reveal it to them. Oftentimes a man, including myself, has taken action based on our heart, but the Bible tells us that the heart is deceptive and exceedingly wicked. Who can trust it? The heart deceives us all the time. And this is more easily seen than looking at our own lives and our relationships since we were children. How many times that we've fallen in love with the wrong person or gone in directions that were really just what our heart wanted, but not really in line with logic, with reason, with wisdom, or sound judgment, or even the scripture. Our hearts led us astray towards various lovers, but not towards the ways of God. Let us be in tune with the discernment that you will give your people. Those who are watching this video right now, give them strong discernment so they would understand the difference between their flesh and their spirit, between wisdom and folly. Show them and give them strong reasons why all of them do what they do, whether they buy or they sell. No matter what happens, let them have sound judgment. That's my prayer for them. In Jesus' name, amen. God bless you all. Take care. If you would like to get more information, you can shoot me an email here. Otherwise, come to our website. You can sign up for the Dive Tier membership if you would like, and we'll invite you to those links. The links are sent out 15 minutes before each meeting. Plus, you'll get access to our Telegram VIP section of members in our community. God bless you guys. Take care.